Yo, what's up, everybody? Special edition right here. My name's Jeffrey McNeil here with the Back of the Bench podcast. So excited to hop on and just talk some Steelers, talk some quarterback stuff. Got the black and yellow on, as you see. Not yet, so just really excited to get on here and talk about the Steelers. So, let me go ahead and pull it up. So as you see, right, Fields isn't traded just yet. No news really. I mean, a ton of news, but nothing guaranteed just yet. So, really excited about the Fields discussion. As my favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, are included in conversations. It's so exciting. Because everybody knows. I'll kind of get into that in a second. So first, I'm going to talk about Fields, right? I'm going to talk about Fields. I'm going to kind of go into basically who he is as a quarterback, what he's done so far, and what he can be. So that's kind of what we're going to do here. So we're back, man. As you guys see, I got the stats pulled up. He was drafted, I believe, 11th overall by the Chicago Bears in the 2021 class. So played only 12 games his rookie season. See the stats there. 58.9% completion percentage, 1,800 yards, 7 total touchdowns, 10 interceptions, but was sacked 36 times. That's crazy. You see QBR 31.4. His rushing stats that year, though, 72 carries for 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 fumbles. Yeah, so kind of a bad year. I mean, he's a rookie quarterback, rookie stink. That team was terrible in 2021. 2022, the team didn't improve much. That was the year that they sold Khalil Mack, they sold Robert Quinn. They just went on they just started selling everybody. They kind of went all in on tanking and getting picks and things like that. So that year, you see the completion percentage went up 2% to 60%, through 2,242 yards, 17 passing touchdowns. I like that number. 11 interceptions, that's kind of high. But for the man that was sacked 55 times, that's absolutely bonkers. But the rushing that year, he rushed 160 times for 1,143 yards. That is insane. 8 rushing touchdowns, 9 fumbles. And then 2023 rushing stats, only rushed for about 657 yards is a lot. 4 rushing touchdowns. Passing, 61. Completion percentage went up even more. Threw 300 more passing yards. And played less games. He played less games in 2023 because of the injuries, things like that. You kind of see. Sorry about that. You kind of see the way it is with Fields. The man is electric. The team he's had has not been great. Let's be honest here. The Bears roster has not been good. Hasn't been elite. Hasn't even been like half. Hasn't even been like mid tier in the league. It's always been a bottom tier roster. So a lot of teams want Justin Fields, supposedly. But me personally, I think it's going to be a lot less teams that are going to even offer the Bears. That's why I think a team like the Steelers really have a true opportunity to get him for a steal. Not just getting for a steal. No pun intended with the Steelers. But I guess I'm kind of diving into that. I guess the first way I'm going to take it is kind of talking about Kenny Pickett. I'm going to talk about Kenny Pickett first for the Steelers' sake. You draft Kenny Pickett with the 20th overall pick in the 2022 draft class. Weird, right? Weird year. Big Ben retires on you. Man, you have to get a quarterback. Like, no ifs, no ands, no buts. You got to go get one. The worst quarterback class we've seen in a while. You take Pitt, quarterback, Pitt Panther, Kenny Pickett with 20th overall pick. And Kenny's rookie season, he threw 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He came in week 4 against the Jets. Went on since then. Not great numbers, not what you want to see. Did have Matt Canada, things like that. They kept Matt Canada going into year 2 for Kenny Pickett's sake. Kenny Pickett supposedly liked the guy. They didn't want Kenny basically to have another rookie year, so they wanted a year 2 leap, so they didn't want to make him start all over with a brand new offensive coordinator, learning a whole new scheme. They wanted him to be comfortable in this scheme. They want an offensive coordinator that knew him well, knew what he liked, knew what he didn't like. That's kind of the thing. So, yeah, year 2. I mean, he technically played, so he went 7-4 overall in games that he played in. So that's 11 games. Sorry if my math is wrong. Yeah, it's 11. 6 passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions. I mean, he only started and finished 9 of the 11, going 7 for 2. 7-2. I mean, pretty good record. Kenny Pickett wins. I'll give you that. His overall win-loss ratio is 14 wins, 10 losses in his entire career. And that also talks about when he played very first start against the hot Buffalo Bills. He played Miami. He had to play Philly. He had to play some really good teams out the gate as a rookie in his first few starts. So that it also counts all those things in. If you take those things away, I mean, down the stretch of last season to make a push for the playoffs, and then the beginning of this year, I mean, he went 12-5. I mean, that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. But the question is, okay, so you're talking about the positives here. What? Negatives is touchdowns. I mean, the guy doesn't score touchdowns. We're talking about Justin Fields and how bad Fields is. Some people talk about, So yeah, I mean, the reason why they move on from him is this is not the GM that the Steelers currently have. Omar Khan did not draft Kenny Pickett. New quarterbacks coach. This isn't Kenny Pickett's quarterbacks coach. This is the brand new offensive coordinator. This is an offensive coordinator that's been there. That wanted Kenny Pickett. As Matt Canada recruited Kenny Pickett to the University of Pittsburgh before he moved on and went to the league. Then he went to the Steelers, and now obviously he advocated to get him in the league. So he did, and then they both stunk together. So we all know quarterback is the need. So I'll start with that. So Mason Rudolph came in last season, and he showed the entire world what the Steelers could be with a good to average quarterback play. He lighted the town on fire. He did because I mean, Mitch played in 5 games this season. We lost every single game that he took a snap in. Every single one. The games that Kenny Pickett could not finish, and the 3 games that he started. Well, two games that he started. Just terrible. So Mason comes in with 3 games left in the season. We're 7-7. We're 6-3 at one point. Then fall to 7-7. Because Kenny's injury, Mitch play, Kenny's play, just bad. So Mason comes in at 7-7, takes us on a 3-game win streak. I believe he threw 5 touchdowns, including the playoff game that he played in. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'll go next with that. Kenny Pickett got hurt against the Cardinals. So he obviously wasn't going to play the rest of that game. The following week against the Patriots, he was not healthy enough to go. Hell, he ended up getting a tightrope surgery because he had a severe high ankle sprain. Instead of waiting for that to heal, get tightrope surgery, come back in about 20-something days. It kind of ranged. Brock Bowers, I believe, came back in 21 days. Kenny, when he got it in college, was 26. Tua was 29. So, it's just surgery that is pretty fast. So he missed the Cardinals game because he got hurt in that game. Missed the very next week against the Patriots. Then missed the Colts game. Then the Cincinnati game. He wasn't medically cleared yet, so he didn't go. Then the very following week, the Seahawks game, Kenny Pickett was medically cleared. Was the third string guy, didn't even dress. But Mike Tomlin said the reason why Mason was the number 1 guy is because Mason got all the reps in practice and Kenny got cleared too late. Cool. Then you had the last game of the season, right in the monsoon in Baltimore, one of the worst weather games of the entire season, if not the worst. Just terrible weather, absolutely nasty. To watch that live on television was horrible. You couldn't see anything at all. It was a really good game, hard-fought game. Baltimore, there was no Lamar Jackson, no Zay Flowers, no Odell Beckham Jr., and no Roquan. But outside of that, the starting line was out there. Your starting running backs were out there. Your starting defense outside of Roquan Smith and Marlon Humphrey were out there. So, I mean, still a really quality team. At that point, they were the best team in the entire NFL record-wise. And they beat the Dolphins. They beat the Niners. They beat all the teams that were even close to them record-wise or in people's thoughts. Yeah, so Kenny was healthy enough to play the game, obviously. I mean, he was cleared over a week ago, so he could have played, and he didn't. Mason took the reins. Okay, cool. Right? This is your franchise quarterback. This is your first-round pick. This is your guy, the franchise guy. You make the playoffs. You sneak in. The Tennessee Titans upset the Jacksonville Jaguars the last game of the season. And after you handle business on Saturday against the Baltimore Ravens, you're in the playoffs. Everything worked out. Right? The Buffalo beats Miami, so you're going to Buffalo. Kenny Pickett did not start. Kenny Pickett was the backup to Mason Rudolph going into the playoff game. You don't do that. The Bengals aren't doing that with Joe Burrow. The Bears wouldn't even do that with Justin Fields. You don't do that when a guy is your franchise quarterback. It's just something that doesn't get done. This is something I've talked about hundreds of times. Haven't had the opportunity to talk about it on camera, and I'm so glad I get the opportunity to. So it is something that struck me as weird. That I think that's why this is even a conversation. If Kenny Pickett he got cleared, okay. Yeah, it was a little later in the week, but that's your number one guy. That's the franchise guy. That it is. So you go to him the Seahawks game. He plays the last game of the year. You make the playoffs. Oh, he plays in the playoff game. That's what you do. No matter what, he got cleared to play. He's gonna play. He's your best quarterback on your entire roster. He's your franchise guy. That's the guy you're building the whole entire roster around. That's your first round pick. But that didn't happen. So I knew. You could ask Austin Yelton. My guys that I'm on the pod with. Ask them when they get on in 2 days on Saturday. Right? Put it in the comments, man. Ask the question, and I'll be sure to check with them, man. Like I told them, Steelers are going to be in a quarterback conversation. Steelers are going to be rumored to draft guys. They're going to be rumored to trade for guys. They're going to be in the Russell Wilson rumors. They're going to be in the Kirk Cousins rumors. They're going to be the Tannehills, the Gardner Minshew's, the Jacoby Brissett's. They're going to. Why? Because they show Kenny Pickett isn't the guy. Right? If he isn't flat out, no questions asked, the number one guy, then he's not the guy. It's that simple. There's no ifs, no ands, no buts. If you have to think, if you have to wonder, if you have to ponder, if you have to have a conversation about it, he's not the guy. And yeah, the Steelers know that too, man. Mike Tomlin talked in his kind of postseason wrap-up presser. It's quarterback play. He said there will be a competition. Now, there's been several reports. You have Jerry Dulac, Steelers Insider, reported that the Steelers will not bring in a quarterback that wants to be a starter. This is the same guy that said, the Miles Jack would fit, but the Steelers are not signing Miles Jack. Not even 2 full days later, the Steelers signed Miles Jack to the roster. So, same guy. So, things are never set in stone. But also here's the thing. Something about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers, they're not going to let you know anything they want to do. Right? Going into last year's draft, I wouldn't have been shocked if we took Jack Campbell at 17. If we took any one of the offensive linemen on the board. Guard, anything, I wouldn't have been shocked. Wide receiver. If we took Jack Smith and Jigba at 17, I would not have been shocked. Because they literally kept that shit so close to their vest that I literally didn't have a single... I knew what they needed. I knew what they weren't going to draft. But yeah, they do a really damn good job at that. Now, Mike Tomlin doesn't do a good job of showing who he likes and who he doesn't like. Like, he's a humongous fan of Justin Fields. Several clips out there, several reports. Everybody knows that Mike Tomlin's Justin Fields' guy. If it was up to Mike Tomlin, Justin Fields would be the quarterback today. But there's money to it. There's logic to it. And there's things like that. I'm going to get into that later. But Mike Tomlin said it, man. It's going to be a competition. Kenny Pickett's not going to be handed the keys. They cut Mitch Trubisky because of his cap hit, right? And Mason Rudolph is a free agent. Kenny Pickett is the only quarterback on the Steelers' entire roster right now. Just one. So the most realistic thing that they're going to do outside of Fields is they're going to sign the vet. Sign Russell Wilson, who's cheap. Sign Tannehill, Brissett, maybe a Gardner Minshew. Sign somebody like that, right? Which this is what I'm saying the fan base for Steelers is split in half, right? Your Fields guys and then your Kenny Pickett guys. Kenny Pickett guys think you go get a vet and then you draft somebody late, like round 4 and later. So draft a day 3 quarterback, sign a vet, and rock out with Kenny. That's what half the fan base thinks. The other half wants Justin Fields, or trade up and go get your quarterback, right? So yeah, you have people that are completely out, including myself, and then you have people that are all in, still wanting Kenny, still making all the excuses in the world. And those are the same people that are kind of dogging Justin Fields. So yeah, Mike Tomlin said it's going to be a competition. It's not Kenny's job. Kenny is the quarterback on right now, but he's going to have to earn it this offseason. That's simple. They're going to bring in competition. Now, what that competition might be, I think it should be Fields. I think it's a good chance it will be Fields. I would say 45, and then other 55% chance they're going to just sign a vet. Maybe if it's bring Mason Rudolph back, if it's a Russ, if it's a Tannehill and Jacoby Brissett type of guy, and then draft one. I think later. Like, we're not talking We're not talking like a day 2 guy. Maybe if Spencer Rattler falls to round 4, which I think he played so good the Senior Bowl, I doubt that. But yeah, maybe like a Joe Milton, Jordan Travis type of quarterback to go with a vet and Kenny. Yeah. So that's kind of that. So the other thing is Art Rooney II, the Steelers owner, he's getting antsy. He really is. So at first he talked and said like, yeah, they will be looking to trade for a quarterback. Then he kind of backtracked a couple days later and said no, like they're not gonna do any big move or anything. That's like, yeah, now you're trying to cover your own butt. Don't because you kind of gave up the recipe to what you were trying to do. So that I felt like that was kind of funny. That was kind of a telltale sign. The other thing is with him is yeah, I mean he during the time of the interview it was the conference championships. So it was the 2 games before the Super Bowl, and he said the only reason why the Steelers weren't currently playing football is because of the quarterback play. That simple, and I mean everybody knows that. So yeah, I mean if the Steelers got better quarterback play, yeah, I mean we saw. I mean they went 3-0, and they were. I mean people think like that Buffalo Bills game started off bad, but at one point before flags, before cheap shots, before Joey Porter Jr. got cheap shot, knocked out the game, before bad calls, non-calls, a fake slide. For all that happened, we're talking a 24-17 game. So yeah, I mean they were in the game, like 21-0 to 17-24. That's a comeback right there. That's how you come back. And I mean they were a touchdown away from tying it up. So I mean it was a competitive game. Steelers turned the ball over several times and they couldn't get Buffalo to turn it over besides a blocked field goal. So yeah, I mean that's that. So yeah, quarterback play, 3-0 in the regular season, competitive, fun to watch playoff game. So that's what it does for you. And if they had that the entire season, they're not the 7th seed, obviously, and things could definitely go a little different. Anyway, so yeah, so now let's lead to the fans that believe that Kenny is better than Justin are going to get Justin isn't an upgrade. Let's get right into that. Give me 1 second, y'all. Here we go. So, see here. Kenny Pickett is older than Justin Fields. I will tell y'all that. Kenny Pickett is older despite coming in the league after a whole year after Justin Fields. So, Justin Fields played 40 games, so he has played more games, right? It took Kenny Pickett 25, but Justin Fields has 6,674 passing yards to Kenny Pickett 4,474. Justin has 40 passing touchdowns to Kenny Pickett's 13, and then the pass touchdown, the attempt ratio, Kenny Pickett has the worst of all time. This is the worst. I mean, ever since this became a stat or became something that can be tracked, Kenny Pickett is the worst quarterback in NFL history at turning pass attempts into touchdowns. I mean, it's obvious. The guy has what, 13 total passing touchdowns in 25 games. That's bad. That's really, 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 really bad. Like, it's terrible. And the fact that this team has went 9-8 and 10-7 when their starting quarterback has only thrown 13 passing touchdowns tells you, 6 in the 10-7 year, 7 in the 9-8 year, tells you everything you need to know. Tells you what this team would be like if they had quality quarterback play. And the difference between these two is Fields and all his interceptions and Fields and his his attempt to pass touchdown ratio, Kenny Pickett has had better weapons than Justin Fields, 100%. He's also had a better offensive line. And he has a better defense. You know why the defense matters? Because Justin Fields is getting blown out in several games where running the ball isn't an option. He has to throw the air out of the ball. Kenny Pickett is blessed enough to win games blessed enough to win games against like Baltimore 17-10. He's so lucky to have having 2 defensive touchdowns in the game to beat Cleveland. Like, he is so blessed to have that type of defensive play to where he does not have to have a great game. He does not have to throw 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, which he's never done. He's done it. He's thrown more than 1 touchdown in a game once. Week 3 against the Las Vegas Raiders this season, he threw a 71-yard touchdown to Calvin Austin III, and I think it was like a 15-yard touchdown to Pat Freiermuth. That was the only time in his entire career he's ever thrown more than 1 touchdown in a single game. So I mean, That's terrible. I mean, it's god awful. It truly is. Like look at this, right? You can't tell me this isn't an upgrade. Justin Fields hasn't even played double the games. 40 to 25. That's not double. It's 10 less than double. But yet, he has 40 passing touchdowns to Kenny Pickett's 13. And he has 10 more rushing touchdowns. And the QBR is better. I mean, you put Fields on the Steelers, those interceptions drop because he has better weapons. I love DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore's a dog, man. He's so good. He's really a guy, man. But DJ Moore, Kmet, Mooney, and whoever Equinemius St. Brown, I'm taking Pickens, Deontay Johnson. I mean, I'm not gonna name a Bears running back because they really don't have anybody. I mean, Deonta Foreman's he's pretty solid. They do have a young guy from, I'm blanking on his name, but from Texas. I know he's good. They're high on him, number 23. I know they're high on him. That was a good draft pick for them, but I mean, he wasn't much this year. Khalil Herbert was hurt a lot this year. So yeah, I mean, I'm taking Najee and Jalen over that backfield any day of the week. Kmet and Pat Fryer. Pat Fryer was actually utilized. I mean, I think he's more talented than Cole Kmet. But once again, I will take the eligibles around Fields in Pittsburgh a million times before I would even think about taking the ones in Chicago, especially over the years in Chicago. Especially before he had DJ Moore and what he had to his disposal. Which, yeah, so that's my thing. It's a 1 million% upgrade. Because the biggest knock on Fields, everybody, is all the interceptions that he throws. That's everybody's biggest knock on Fields is the interceptions. Doesn't have that much talent around him. Getting beat and blown out, so he has to throw the ball. Do you not know how hard it is in the league to have to throw? Right? If you don't, is he Joe Burrow? Is he Patrick Mahomes? Is he Josh Allen? No. Can he be? He could be on the same level as Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. What you expect? Yeah, I mean, he's mobile. I think he's faster than them. I think Lamar Jackson has more shiftiness, and Josh Allen's more powerful as a runner. But I mean, Justin Fields he's the fastest one, right? He gets busy, right? We know that. Still, and the people are saying, the only fans that want this are fantasy and Madden guys. No, I'm not. I'm looking at touchdowns. That's what we need to score touchdowns. We have to. We cannot continue to our defense has to hold a team to less than 20 for us to even have a chance. A chance. Now that's not a guaranteed win, but just to even have a chance to win, they have to score less than 20. That's not guaranteed in the NFL. You're playing against Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense twice a year. You're playing against Lamar Jackson and that offense. We could talk shit about Deshaun Watson, but I mean, David Njoku's a dog. Amari Cooper's a dog. Chubb is a dog, right? I mean, they have offensive star power, offensive talent to put up 30 points. They've done it this year. We know they can do it. You have to go against that offense twice a year. You cannot realistically hold every single one of them to under 20 every single time you play them. Did you? Yes. Yes, you did. Lamar scored 10. Once. But the Ravens scored 10. The Bengals scored, 10 the first time they played them? And then 11 the second time they played them? Yeah, it was like 34-11. Then what? You lost 13-10 against Cleveland. And then when you beat them, no, they scored over 20. I believe you beat them 22-26. So, I mean, yeah, and you had you had a pick six by Alex Highsmith, and you had a Alex Highsmith fourth fumble, T.J. Watt scoop and score. That's the only reason why you won that game. You take the two defense touchdowns away, you lose. I mean, let's keep it a stack. Like, I'm just gonna be honest here. I'm a big Steelers fan. Steelers keep Kenny Pickett. I'm still gonna rock out. I'm still gonna cheer for the guy. I still think my team's gonna be good because I'm a fan of the team. That's how it goes. But I'm not finna sit here and bullshit everybody. And just because getting Justin Fields is so low of a chance, I'm gonna act like Kenny Pickett is better. That's dumb as hell. Yes, right. Who's realistically gonna take the snaps? I mean, who's more realistic to take snaps? Week 1 very first snap, 2024. Kenny Pickett. I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing the probability of getting Fields. I'm arguing Fields is better than Kenny Pickett, which you see the stats. He is. He has more rushing touchdowns in his career than Kenny Pickett has passing. Please stop talking. Like, he had 8 rushing touchdowns in a single season. That's more than Kenny Pickett has had passing touchdowns in a single season. Stop talking about who's better. Okay? End it, right? Justin Fields is a million times better than Kenny Pickett. But is there a way Steelers can win and be competitive? What can you pick? I mean, obviously they have for the past 2 seasons, so they have. But yeah, I mean, you kind of got a 49er, right? You got to Steelers are going to have to pay legit need Jalen Johnson type talent. You know, Sean Murphy, Bunting, maybe the tier 2. You know, they're going to have to load up secondary for sure, right? They're going to have to get Joey Porter Jr. and Minka Fitzpatrick some help. I mean, draft a safety, sign a safety for a decent chunk of change, or draft a corner high and sign a safety for a decent chunk of change, and vice versa, right? Like take Kool-Aid McKinstry, Cooper DeJean, Nate Wiggins, Terry Arnold. Take one of them round 1, right? You have to take corner round 1. Yeah, you have to load up secondary because you're going to get Joe Burrow. If you want to beat the Bills, you want to beat the Ravens, you want to beat the Chiefs, you're gonna have to stop them from passing the ball on you, since offensively you're going to be running the ball more. Even if you get Justin Fields, you're going to be running the ball. You have Arthur Smith. They're going to be one of the best rushing offenses in the entire league. And also, we're talking about a guy when he was with Tennessee. All 3 years they averaged over 25 points per game. Steelers have been averaging 16, 18, like just terrible. So obviously upgraded offensive coordinator position. Obviously going to run the ball all over the yard. Obviously had the talent to do it. Obviously going to be really good at running the football. So, yeah, I mean, boom. Kenny's going to have to do more play action. Kenny's going to have to just do enough. Why have to pigeonhole yourself into your quarterback just doing enough when, bro, go get J.J. McCarthy. I know J.J. McCarthy's probably going to go a lot higher than 20 now, rumored. But, bro, he's better than Kenny in my opinion. Like, I mean, people are saying Bo Nix is a carbon copy. I wouldn't mind Nick. I mean, get somebody with a higher ceiling to Pickett. Pickett is not going to, like, Kenny Pickett is going to be this guy. This is Kenny Pickett. This is him. Right? The guy we've seen for the past 2 seasons, that's him. He's 25? He's 25 years old. He's not about to continue to grow and he's not 21. This is the Kenny Pickett. Can the stats look better? Of course stats can look better. If the run game improves, you know, things like that. But also, Allen Robinson's going to get cut. We know that. You're going to have to spend a pretty high pick on a wide receiver or pay some money for one because he needs more. George Pickens is a superstar. Deontay Johnson is an incredible route runner. Pat Freiermuth is definitely top 10 talent in the entire league at his position. Top 5 in my opinion, but I'm a fan, obviously. But still, I mean, the offensive line is 10 times better than it's ever been. The rushing talent that he has behind him isn't enough. It isn't. I mean, you're going to have to go, and this is such an incredible wide receiver class. It really is. You probably can draft one round 4 and get a really good quality game-changer wide receiver in the slot. You have to do it, right? I mean, you have to. Or you're going to have to go pay Hollywood Brown or go pay one of these underrated wide receivers coming out that won't be crazy expensive, but it's going to cost some change. I mean, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to. Obviously, you got money opening up. You're going to have to cut some guys. All these things are going to happen, but you got to do it. It's that simple, bro, because keep it kidding, you have to elevate everybody else's play. All these fans that we're the Steelers, we're Super Bowl bust. But we're rocking out with a quarterback that most touchdowns he's thrown in a season is 7. Please, like we, as the Steelers, for the Steelers to win the North, the quarterback needs 20 total touchdowns. I'm gonna say that right now in one season, minimum. That means Kenny has to run for 2 and throw 18, minimum, for this team to even have a chance to win the AFC North and make a push. It's just that simple, right? That's not a lot. We're talking. People think Justin Fields is just a runner. He threw 17. He's not just a runner. I don't think people understand how bad 6 passing touchdowns is. Like, for context, Tommy DeVito had 6 in 2 games. Fields had 8 in 2 games. He had 8 fucking passing touchdowns in 2 games. You know, 8. I don't know if it's 8 passes. I think it was 8 total. Still 8 total touchdowns in 2 games. Kenny had 6 in an entire year. Like, it's an obvious upgrade. Oh, the interceptions. Look who the fuck he's been throwing the ball to. Look at the offensive line he's had in front of him for the majority of his career. I know Darnell Wright. I know Braxton Jones. Obviously, they're improving. Don't get me wrong. The offensive line is way better now than they were. But let's talk about all the interceptions and where most of the interceptions came. His first 2 years in the league, obviously. So, yeah, worst offensive line in football, you could argue, those years. So, I mean, that has a lot to do with it. So, yeah, I think 1,000,000%. that this team has. I mean, this team has a lot for him. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get into that now. So here we go, right here. This is the rumor conversation. Steelers have picked 51, not 52, but still. So Steelers trade 2024 second round pick, 2025 fifth round pick. Personally, this is a little older. This article, yeah, it's a little older, but yeah. So anyway, 1,000,000% Fields. Supposedly, it's up to a second round pick this year and a fourth round pick this year. They have 2 fourth round picks this year. I would do it. No ifs, no ands, no buts. I would do it. Right? I mean, would I give up 20 for him? I don't know. If I give up 20 straight up for Justin Fields, if they still do that, I would get behind it for 100%. But still, a second round pick and a fourth round pick this year, I'm down for sure. I'm down. I mean, that improves your team so much, man. So once again, I have diehard Cincinnati fan on the pod with me. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. Grew up here, so yeah, Bengals. I watch a ton of Bengals games. I play fantasy. I had T. Higgins in fantasy. I had Joe Mixon in fantasy. So I watch damn near every snap. Okay, if not every snap. So yeah, I mean, we have a 2 TV setup here. So yeah, I mean, when the Steelers game's on, the Bengals game is on, literally right in the same view. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I mean, so I talked to Austin about how bad the Bengals defense is, and he said they had one down year. No, you didn't have Joe Burrow. A quarterback masks how bad a team is, especially a defense, right? Because the Bengals can afford giving up 21 points to a team. They can, because Joe Burrow can put up 45, right? They can afford a team going down and scoring because they can come right back, right? Like, the Steelers, we pray to goodness our defense is on the field at the end of the game, whereas they pray that their offense is. That's the difference. Without that offense looking as elite and as electric, without Joe Burrow, second, third, whatever you want to put him, best quarterback in the entire league, without having him, it looked a lot worse because they weren't driving every possession. They were doing 3 and outs. They weren't guaranteed 3 just as soon as they touched the ball. They weren't just moving with ease, moving with efficiency, driving down, scoring. They weren't doing that, right? So the defense giving up 3 here, 3 there, touchdown. It looked terrible, right? But that's what it's like to not have a quarterback. And the Steelers have such an elite defense that if you have an elite quarterback, that, like, I don't think Pittsburgh Steelers fans really understand having this type of rushing attack with Justin Fields, right? Where Najee, Jalen, and Justin all can run all over everybody, right? And Justin Fields, any given game, can throw 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Any given game, he can do it. He can do it. Justin Fields can rush for 2 and pass for 2 in the same game. Justin Fields can rush for, he can throw 2 and run 1. Same game. Same exact, not before the bye week. That same game. He could do that, guys. Dead serious. He has. Having that type of offense to go with this level of defense, that's only going to improve because we know in a draft that this is going to be, okay, right? I think it's going to be a defensive-heavy draft because simple fact that corners need. Like, once again, I think first-round pick could be Jack Power Johnson, the center. It could be. You're going to draft the center in this draft class, and you could go center and tackle. I think the Steelers love Dan Moore too much to really move on from him like other people do. But I definitely think they're moving on from the center position. Which could also be solved in free agency. There's some guys out there. A few guys have been cut. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So, now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dive into the teams potentially for Justin Fields and why I think it could be a steal for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. So, yeah. So, the Steelers, the Falcons, the Commanders, the Patriots, the Raiders, those are kind of the main ones. But still, yeah. So rock out with those because those are the main ones. So, okay. Falcons is a really popular. Steelers, per the odds, are the odds favorite to get Justin Fields. Justin Fields, the odds favorite destination for Justin Fields is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, I've dove deep into that one. Now, Falcons. It's home. Also, better weapons. Offensive line's better. Not by much, but it's better. Now, the defense isn't. The defense is damn near right about the same as what you were getting in Chicago And then obviously when they got Montez Sweat, like that pass rush started dominating. But still, I would argue the Bears defense is better. I mean, you had Jaquan Brisker, young talent. They got Jesse Bates. You had Jalen Johnson, who per PFF was the best corner in the entire league, versus AJ Terrell, who's a really good young corner. But obviously you take Jalen Johnson in that matchup. You had Tremaine Edmonds. You had Edwards from the Eagles. So I mean you got some dogs on the defense, especially once you got Montez Sweat. So I would say the Bears defense is better than Falcons. But still, the Falcons, brand new regime. Also, it's home for him. But Justin Fields talked about it on St. Brown podcast. He talked about it. Going home is a lot of pressure. He got people constantly asking for tickets to games, constantly asking for stuff. Being home ain't always the best thing. Everybody knows that. It's not. So, there's that. Okay, and also, that scheme, that offensive coordinator, no, that's a gunslinging West Coast type scheme, which doesn't fit Justin Fields. You have to be an elite you have to be a good processor, things like that. More of your Brock Purdy's. I shouldn't say his name first, but obviously Matthew Stafford, who was just in it, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Brock Purdy. Those are the types of quarterbacks that work in that Zach Robinson scheme, coming from the Sean McVay tree. Sorry if y'all hear that train up there. Sorry about that. But still, so Zach Robinson and his scheme doesn't fit Justin Fields. Raiders, that also doesn't fit Justin Fields. Now, they're going to make a push for Justin, which is rumored, which, yes, I'm going to get into my prediction later. But still, the other thing, I think there's 3 teams that scheme-wise fit Justin Fields. I think it's New England, Washington, and Pittsburgh. I think out of all the teams, scheme-wise, offensive coordinator type of offense they're going to run this next season, those are the only 3 teams that will fit Justin Fields. 2 of the 3 have top 3 picks. So, I mean, we're talking about the Bears saying, oh, man, go cheaper with a quarterback, get a better quarterback prospect, better quarterback profile, have them for 5 years. Both of the teams are in, these other 2 teams are in the same conversation. Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Maybe Jaden McCarthy jumps at that. I don't think so. But still, Drake May and Jaden Daniels. Those are the 2. Maybe they do value them over Justin Fields. Maybe not, right? So, I think Cliff Kingsbury, Scary Terry, Chris Sims not free agent, but Jahan Dotson, they need offensive line help in Washington. You can get that free agency. They need edge rushing help pretty bad. But yeah, maybe you can trade for Fields. Maybe at 2, take Marv. You could do that. You could trade back and take some edge rushing talent, because I think taking Dallas Turner at 2 is a little steep, especially when you got teams that would want to jump New England to get their. To go get Drake May or Jaden Daniels, whoever they think is going to go 3 to Washington. To New England. Then yeah, I think 2 and 3 are both worth Marvin Harrison. So I think the Patriots can do the same thing. They could trade for Justin Fields, and then they can draft Marvin Harrison Jr. This is the 3rd overall pick. Could happen, should have happened, maybe. But here's the thing: why do that when you could get better quarterback prospects for longer, for cheaper? Hey, the same argument we making for Chicago, same one. The exact same one for them. But yeah, scheme wise, yeah, he fits there. But yeah, I think Vegas is a nice fit. Jimmy G's there, Aiden O'Connell's there, but I think Justin Fields over both of those 2 guys anyway. Everybody thinks Devontae Adams is going to get traded, and most likely he's going to get traded to the New York Jets, is what people are believing right now. So, but yeah, they're going to make a push. They're going to try to get Justin Fields. It's already been rumored, and I think they're going to get close to getting him, if not getting him, and I'll get into that later. But yeah, I think scheme-wise, Justin Fields fits those 3 teams scheme-wise. Now, storyline-wise, I like Atlanta a lot for Fields. Obviously, I've dove into watching a lot more Fields lately, especially because of the simple fact that he's rumored to come to Pittsburgh. I want to see him. I want to see what he's like. I want to see his highlights compared to Kenny's. I wanted to see his numbers. I wanted to see basically all his I watched a clip of all his interceptions, how many were his fault, how many were he under pressure, how many was just a terrible throw versus Kenny Pickett's. So, I kind of watched that. I'm higher on Fields than Kenny. Obviously, I think Fields is obviously can be, he has top 10 quarterback talent in the league. He needs to be unlocked, and I think Atlanta's weapons, Pittsburgh's weapons, maybe, obviously New England, no, but maybe if they pay a wide receiver, hand draft Marv, that's a nice pairing for Justin Fields. And then Washington with Scary Terry and Jahan Dotson, and maybe taking Marv to go with those guys, or maybe signing Curtis Samuel back. Something like that. I could think that could unlock him. His talent to be a top 10 quarterback. Vegas, if they keep Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers is pretty underrated. Hunter Renfrow's underrated. They have Michael Mayer, the young tight end. They need to improve that offensive line a lot. They're probably going to lose Josh Jacobs, so they have question marks on that team offensively. But I mean, they have a solid wide receiver core. They have Devontae Adams, who's one of the best at his position in the entire league. So yeah, I mean, DJ Moore is pretty fucking talented too. So still, so yeah, here's my prediction. I think so. The betting odds and like a lot of reporters are all over Pittsburgh because it's a new GM. He does things different. Art Rooney allows him to do things different. Art Rooney wants different things as well. Like he wants different things as well. Like it's totally different. It's totally different now. This is not the Steelers of the past. So that's why it's possible. A. B. Mike Tomlin loved Justin. Loved him coming out. Obviously still loves his quarterback profile, as I would assume. So yeah, I think like people are all over Pittsburgh. But I think the NFL consensus, if you go to Bengals fans, Eagles fans, which I have them on the show, and I'll talk to them on Saturday. If you go to these fans, right, and you go across the league, outside of Pittsburgh, outside of teams that are rumored to land him, and obviously in Chicago, what would everybody love to see him go? Is going to be Atlanta across fan bases. Atlanta's running it, right? Steelers are getting more of like the, what's his name? Louis Riddick, Field Yates, Ryan Clark, Rich Eisen type, these type of guys, right? The media analysts, these guys are the ones talking about us. But as far as the fans and the 33rd team and PFF who hate Pittsburgh, all these sources and more of fan-driven stuff is going to be Atlanta. So I think we're all going to watch Atlanta. I think him going home would be great. I think him going home would be fun to watch. I personally love it. Love the idea. If Pittsburgh was not in the conversation, I would be all over fields to Atlanta. Only reason I'm not is because I want him to come to Pittsburgh. That's the only reason I'm not on that train. Is because coming to Pittsburgh, that'd be the best home for you. He also said on the St. Brown podcast that this was the best, like obviously it was one of the best stadiums he's ever played in. The terrible towels, it was lit, all that. Yeah, man, you can have it every single home game. So, come on, JF1. But yeah, I think I think that, like I said, Atlanta's kind of running it fan wise. I think that's what everybody wants to get. Everybody would get. I would get behind it. Like it would sting as a Steelers fan because we'll probably go with Russ. I like Russ. I think Russ better than Kenny as well. Damn near, but still, obviously, if he goes somewhere else, that kills the actually getting a pretty solid quarterback dream. So yeah, that's my thing. I think Atlanta's going to be the favorite, not odds wise, but out of everybody landing. Then I think Vegas is going to make a push. I think Vegas is going to pop out of nowhere. They're being reported currently, but they're being reported to reach out. They're going to be reported to try to they're going to be. Like he's gonna report that they're offering, they're calling, things like that. We might get some crazy ass trade numbers that they're offering. We may get a rumor that they're offering a certain player and all those kind of crazy things. And half the shit half the stuff, doesn't be true. Is it gonna be true? Because it never really is. It pops up all the time how the Dolphins were trying to get Jonathan Taylor. Supposedly the Colts were asking for Jalen Waddle and the Dolphins were willing to give him up, but the whole time that was not true. So those things happen all the time. But I think that narrative is gonna jump out there. I think it's gonna be talked about. I think everybody's gonna be all over. Oh my God, he's going to Vegas. They offered this. They don't want to get. I feel like they're gonna jump out of nowhere. And then yes, the team that comes in and gets the steal, gets the snag, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think it's gonna be a steal. They talked to Ryan Poles a lot. They traded away Chase Claypool for the 32nd overall pick. And last year, they talked to him at the deadline. Ryan Poles and Omar Khan talked to the deadline this year for Jalen Johnson. And supposedly rumored, once again, that we were close to landing Jalen Johnson before they decided that they didn't want to move him at all. So, that also happened. So yeah, man, that's simple, right? You know, I think Steelers are going to get him. I think it's going to be a lot cheaper because you notice I didn't say Vegas. I mean, I didn't say New England. I didn't say Washington. I didn't say Denver. I didn't say you know, New Orleans or none of the other QB needy teams. I didn't say them. And the reason why is because they're not really going to be that interested. They'll call, they'll see what they want, and they'll be like, you know, no, we'll pass. We'll go ahead and just trade up in the draft, or we'll just take whatever falls to us. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I don't think so. I don't think every single QB needy team is going to offer. And the reason why I think Pittsburgh is going to get him is because that's the only win-win-win. It's the only one. Justin going home is lit, but that's not a win for Justin Fields because Atlanta is still years away from competing. Whereas we all know Pittsburgh is a quarterback away. Like, they truly are. Do they have other holes? Of course. But they're not going to have to give up everything. They're not going to give up everything. They're not going to have no money. They're going to have money to sign guys. They will, guys. I promise. They're going to still have a first-round pick to get your center, get your tackle, get your corner, whatever they don't get in free agency. They'll be able to get round one. If they do give up a second and a fourth, they have a third and another fourth. And, I mean, they do have future draft capital. So if there's really somebody they want so bad, they can trade and they can move up. You can do things like that, man. You can worry about that stuff later. You know, it's that simple, right? So, I honestly, but man, I have a good feeling the Steelers are getting for a steal. Like, I mean, a second, straight up, 51, gone. We have a third and 2 fourths. We can package some of that stuff together in future picks, move up, get a second-round pick back. So that's what the Steelers do in the draft. That's what they do. They trade a fourth-round pick with 17 and move up to 14 to get their tackle and jump in front of the Jets. Then they trade back in the third round to pick up that fourth-round pick that they lost. I mean, these are just type moves that they do, the type moves that they make, the type of guy Omar Khan is. So if we do trade for him and give up a pretty decent pick for him, that doesn't mean that we're not going to have, I mean, we're fucked in the draft. We're not, man. We're going to have money to sign some guys. And, man, Justin Fields is going to elevate this entire roster because our offense will be able to score on any drive. Like, we don't have to wait to the last drive of the game to score a touchdown. We can score opening drives. We can score any drive we want to. Like how it felt having Mason Rudolph when anytime we touched the ball, we drove down the field, we were driving. It wasn't just like, oh, boom, a big electric play. Okay, now we get 3. Right? George Pickens made some unbelievable-ass catch that guarantees us 3, but we're not scoring. No, Justin Fields' legs is going to elevate the red zone offense, right? Obviously with the run game with him and then Najee and Jalen, that's going to be so hard to stop. George Pickens in the play-action game, Pat Freiermuth. I mean, Justin looks good in the red zone. He really does. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think Steelers are getting because, like I said, it's win-win-win. The Bears move off of Justin Fields. They're able to draft the generational talented quarterback and Caleb Williams, who's going to be cheaper, and they're going to have 5 years compared to Justin Fields for 2. Yeah, so they're going to be able to do that. Steelers are going to win because he's going to elevate this entire roster. He's going to turn them into not just a I mean, I love their chances in the North with a quarterback like Justin Fields. And obviously you win in the North. Obviously you're going to have a home playoff game and things go your way. Worst kind of worst, they finish the second or third in the North, but I guarantee you they're not the 7th seed, right? But he elevates the entire team. The defense is going to play better because the offense is better. The defense is obviously going to be healthy going into next season with him. Because, everybody's going to come back healthy. We don't have no big names leaving, right? Every single starter is remaining on the roster, which is incredible. So, yeah, we're rocking out. We're rocking out, man. We kept everybody. Nobody's leaving. That's a starter. Not like second string that played and third strings that played. A few of them are leaving. But outside, I think the most important guy to bring back is Miles Killebrew, which is special teams all-pro, pro bowler, special teamer, though. He led the NFL in block punts this year. So that's the guy you're losing. So that's the number one guy you have to bring back. Other than him, everybody else can really walk because you either can replace the second string guy or the third string guy in free agency for cheaper, or give a guy that's better the same contract, or you could draft a guy. That's simple. So yeah, and it's a win for Fields because this is the best team Fields will be on the entire career. It's better than any Chicago team that he's been on, obviously. The year that they got him, I think they were the 15th best team, and they traded up to go. I don't know. They were at 11. I don't know what they traded up for. Pretty sure they traded up. Still, right? You had that, right? Then obviously they had the number 1 overall pick last year, and then this year they had their pick is actually the 9th overall pick. So yeah, they've been a bottom team in the league the entire time in his entire career with the team. Steelers have never had the highest pick they've had since Justin Fields been in the league is 17. The year he got drafted, they were at 24. Then they were at 17. Now they're at 20. Well, then they were at 20. Then 17. Now they're back at 20. I mean, obviously the team is better. These are better weapons, better offensive line. That's going to improve even more because I think they're going to value a center. I think they can take Cedric Van Pran in the 3rd round, or they can take Jack Power Johnson round 1, and that will be a day 1 improved starter at the center position. Really excited about that, as I said. I think that's why it's a win for him, because Washington is rebuilding, New England is rebuilding, Atlanta's rebuilding. They have some nice veteran pieces, but they have a ton of young talent, right? Like they don't have nearly as many veteran pieces like the Steelers. The Steelers are. It's time to compete. T.J. Watt's 29. Minka's getting up there. Cam's about to retire. You have to win in the next 2 seasons, or your window is closed. You sign Justin Fields, you get him for 2 seasons before you have to pay him a contract. That's what they have to do. Boom. That's why it fits, right? That's why it fits them. That's why it fits Fields. Fields is coming in trying to compete for a ring, not rebuilding. Every other team in this conversation is rebuilding, right? Vegas has a lot of holes. I mean, they had Max Crosby, one of the best players at his position. Devontae Adams, who's rumored to be traded, and people are guaranteeing is not staying in Vegas. But he's one of the best players at his position. But outside of that, I mean, they have some solid offensive line pieces, but the offensive line needs to improve. The D-line needs to improve. The linebacker room can improve. The secondary needs to improve a ton. So, yeah. When Marcus Peters is your best corner, that's bad, right? So, they have a lot of improving to do all across the team. So, that team isn't – I mean, they have new head coach, things like that. So, that team's rebuilding. That team's trying to go into a whole new direction, trying to start fresh. And yeah, I mean, they're a few years away from competing at all. Obviously, New England is. Obviously, Washington is. And yeah, obviously Atlanta is too. Whereas Atlanta does have Drake London, do have Kyle Pitts, do have Bijan. They can improve the offensive line. They need to get some pass rushers. The interior linebacker room needs to improve, and Jeff Okudah's about to be a free agent, so you do need to help Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell. You get a cornerback too, get another safety to help out Bates. So that's my take on it. Fields to Pittsburgh. It works. It fits. It's the best thing for him. Best thing for the Steelers. Co-workout for the Bears. It's the only win-win-win. Only thing where Fields wins. He's coming in to compete for a Super Bowl. He's not coming in to show what he got. He's not coming in as a rental, right? He's not coming in like, okay, yeah, I mean, we traded for you. We're rebuilding. We're starting fresh. And also, I don't think he fit. I don't think half the teams that I talked about are really going to even think about him for real, because like the teams that are rebuilding, they're not ready to pay Justin Fields type contract that you're going to have to pay. I mean, Justin Fields isn't going to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, he's not. But at the same time, they're rebuilding. So having a cheap quarterback, which 90% of them that I talked about will get in the draft, having a cheap quarterback with a cheap contract for 5 years, other than Fields for 1, 2, right? It just doesn't make sense for most of them. That's why I think it's going to be a lot cheaper than most people think. And yeah, if I'm Chicago, I'm keeping him. Keep Fields, right? I love Caleb though. I think Caleb's great. I think Caleb's so good. I think Caleb will improve your roster. I think he'll improve your team by obviously keeping Justin will too. I mean, keeping Justin elevated your roster the day he walked in Chicago. So yeah, I would keep Fields if I'm Chicago. But yeah, I think Pittsburgh has it. I mean, they're number 1 in the odds. I mean, they're negative 120 for a reason to land Fields. I mean, it's a reason for it, and this is why it's the only win-win-win. And yeah, let me know what y'all think. Let me know in the comments. Is Justin an upgrade over Kenny? Let me know if you think that this does help the Steelers out a lot. Do you think that this elevates this roster and can finally push this team into winning a playoff game for the first time in 7 years? So, yeah, let me know. So, this has been a special edition episode. Jeffrey McNeil, Back of the Bench podcast, on here talking about Justin Fields to Pittsburgh, pushing for, letting y'all know that it's a true possibility, and letting y'all know it's the best thing for him, best thing for the Steelers. Only win-win-win possibility. Comment, like, subscribe, share. Let me know what y'all think, man. Special edition. Never done this before. Maybe I'll continue to do this for my Pittsburgh lovers, for my news, big trade guys. I will continue to do this. So, peace. Catch you on the next one. Saturday, we'll have, when this drops, another ep will be dropping from last Saturday's video. This Saturday, we'll record another one. I'll get that out 10 times faster for y'all. So, yeah, should be 3 episodes in the next couple days, including this one, for y'all to go ahead and pop out, listen to, watch, rock out to. Thank y'all for listening. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.